I took your issue of complementarity in sort of kind of as a political question. So when I heard about your project, my desire was to address an issue of why, let's say, kind of two mutually exclusive positions, which today pretty much are occupied by rich and poor, nonetheless, sort of are kind of creating a sort of a vision of complementarity. And I'm trying to analyze what are sort of the ideological sort of parameters of this complementarity, and also what kind of an identification operates to keep at least this fantasy of complementarity temporarily alive. Now, we are living in times of enormous economic crisis, and we have also daily new types of anxiety provoked especially by the dominant media. Now, I will start with the question of what are the events really that are causing this anxiety, and I won't sort of focus primarily at economic crisis just yet. Now, in the domain of philosophy, the notion of event has been very much analyzed in the work of Alain Badiou, who, as many of you here probably know, perceived the revolution and falling in love as two of the events which sort of radically changed the subject's perception of the past and of the future, which radically unsettle also the subject's self-perception. Now, when Badiou was speaking about the event, he also pointed out that there is a sort of a kind of a difference between the real event and the semblance of the event, as it is a kind of a really, hard to distinguish really what is real and what is a semblant. Now, he came up with a provocative answer to this dilemma, saying that real, as it is perceived in its absolute contingency, is never real enough, which is why always in some way the real event too can be perceived as some kind of a semblance of the event. Now, Badiou also stated that the passion for the real is always necessary a suspicion, and that nothing can in fact declare what is real as real, only a system of fictions that display the role of the real. Now, the dilemma of what is real and what is a semblance was not long ago a question, in a kind of an amusing question that happened on the shores of Florida one day in last October when I was in America. All the media were full of the questions. What is sort of the sign of this event when a giant Lego man appeared on the shore of the beach? Now, in the morning, when joggers went jogging to the beach, they saw this giant Lego man. Now, the first thought was that maybe a ship which is going from one Lego land to another kind of dropped the Lego man, and the Lego man was washed on the beach. Now, of course, they immediately called the TV crew. Okay, the TV journalist came, and then the second question emerged. Maybe this event is not just a kind of a random, event of a lost Lego man from a beach. Maybe it's an act of violence. So Americans can be quite dramatic when they are discussing and fighting violence. So they thought this goes against the law that you shouldn't throw plastic objects on the beach. So the mayor of this small town immediately intervened. He took the Lego figure and created a kind of a temporary prison for the Lego man. In an undisclosed location, Lego man was stored, kind of a Guantanamo Bay. Before they took it away, the children were sort of playing, and then the Lego appeared in the Guantanamo for Legos. Now, immediately, people started creating Facebook pages, Free Lego Man, the human rights of Lego Man, tweeting and so on. Now, the mayor responded that under the law, he will keep the Lego Man for 90 days in this undisclosed location. If no owner appears, then he will release the Lego Man to the one who found him on the beach.